That's my secret, cat. I'm always angry.
What's up?
Oh, there we go. Okay, I was like, why can't I hear anything? How are you today?
All right, making it, trying to figure this thing out. I'm like, I've got like a slightly different setup today, so
I like it. I like
yeah,
it.
I think it's better. Before it was kind of like, I don't know, weird.
No, it was good before, but for some reason this just looks like a little bit cleaner, I guess.
Yeah, it's a good way of
I like
putting it.
I like it a lot.
Let me see here.
I'm digging the stash.
Huh?
I said I'm digging the.
Yeah. I'm trying to get there. I'm trying
That's
to
so
get there.
funny. So that whenever you have offers roll in, you can just twirl your stash.
That's it.
Like,
I do that actually. I do that a lot. Like
oh my
every time I'm thinking, I do that. You know, to freak people out, I do that. So, you know.
I'm telling someone to lay off the texting because it'll keep coming. It'll keep coming in.
Yeah.
It's my friend slash other business partner that I work with. So we've been coming up with different plans. So I'm very excited there. But how are you doing? How is life? What's new? It's been like almost 2 weeks.
I know it's been a while. It feels longer, but yeah, I guess it's only been like about 2 weeks. But I mean, things are, you know, Sarah, the world's on fire. So literally, it's one of those things where it's like, this isn't like a political show or anything like that. And I don't even, you know, get involved in that kind of thing. But I mean, I think we would be amiss if we didn't, you know, mention it. So yeah, everything is kind of going crazy. People are protesting.
How's it been in your side? Because obviously over here, you know, we're really close to Philly, so we have a lot of intense going on.
So it was like initially it was, you know, it was kind of bad. Like the protesting isn't the problem. Like, you know,
No.
it's not the protests that are bad, because they're not like affecting anything like that's needed or anything like that. It's the rioting that becomes the issue. So so initially we had some riots at nighttime. Like we had like regular protests, and then at nighttime it kind of like turned a little violent and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't think anybody particularly was hurt, but like some places got caught on fire, like you know, the usual stuff that you're hearing like now. We didn't get it as bad as some places have. Like you were saying, was your, in your area, is it pretty bad?
The city that I live in is called Allentown, so we're about an hour north of Philadelphia. So over here it's actually pretty quiet. There were some peaceful protests that went on, same. I was really proud of my school. It's a little college town, and everyone kind of minds their business. But the turnout for those protests at my school, it was insane. Like, someone took pictures, and we have these crazy like historical statues over there, and people were like hanging off of the statue with their signs. Like, it was really amazing to see the communities come together. I haven't been into Philly just because I'm really small and I'm scared I'm gonna get trampled. Like the protests that, you know, like I totally agree, the protests, like I don't have a problem with. I 100% support them and understand the cause. But I get really scared that I'm going to get really hurt in the midst of like people, you know, like swinging bats at places and that. Like, I just get really nervous myself. But
for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know Philly can be intense though anyway, because like when the Eagles won that one game and everyone was just in the streets anyway, climbing on like the street lamps, and it's like, okay, we're intense and passionate people over here in a lot of history. So there's a lot to be done over here, but luckily where I'm at, it's been pretty, you know, safe. And there haven't been, I don't recall any establishments that were destroyed in any way, or no fires, at least in Allentown.
Well, rightfully so. I mean, you should be worried, like, because I mean, it doesn't take much. Like, did you see that picture of in LA, like where everybody was like shoulder to shoulder? It was like the entire like, you know,
Yeah.
so like, my mind works this way. Like, obviously, there wasn't anything like that picture was showing as far as like any kind of violence or anything like that. But everybody was shoulder to shoulder. Everybody was packed in, and I'm like,
Yeah.
all it takes is like a group of people to start moving one direction, and you're gonna have like a stampede. And if you can't keep up, it's gonna, you're gonna get really hurt. Like, it happens all the time, like in situations where there's like a mass.
It happens during less intense situations like Black Friday where people get really hurt. And for me, I'm someone that's very claustrophobic, as you can tell, in this space that we're always talking and it's very open and big.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And whenever I feel like too close to other people, I'm like, no, I need my space. Like I need to go. So, but more power to everyone that's been doing all of the peaceful protesting and everything that's been going on. I know my little community, we've been making donations to the Loveland Foundation in our way to give back, which is it educates and provides opportunities for young Black girls and Black women and provides therapy and things like that. So it's a really beautiful foundation. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's good. I mean, the more organizations like that are around, the better. I think like that's kind of what separates. Hey, are you having like background noise issues with me?
No.
You can hear me just fine?
Yeah, I hear you perfect.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I think that's kind of what separates the United States, from like some other areas, is that like the United States is very pro like organizations that try to like get involved and stuff like that. I think there's some of that around the world, but I don't think it's as much as like they push here. Here they push that a lot, so I think that's beneficial.
Yeah, and there's so many to give back to. At least like community based, I totally agree with you. Like communities are always supporting, like I feel like, small businesses and locally owned places. But I think the thing that's harder is that like our government doesn't support nearly as much. Like I was doing some reading yesterday, and I think it's in New Zealand. They're donating, I think, 180 million to the Creative Arts Fund to kind of rebuild, the arts community with theater, orchestra, all different ways, because they know the impacts for people who work in the creative field. So I thought that was really cool. So I think, something like that should be in the next steps, at least over here, because there was over, I think, 11,000 jobs that were lost in the creative field. And obviously, in every field has suffered, but as a freelance musician, when you're like relying on that stuff, and then they have to, like the Met Orchestra, they fired all of their employees because they couldn't afford to pay them out. And it's like, oh my God. So it's really tough.
Yeah, especially like in an environment like this, it's like that the last thing that people are thinking are, like you said, the people in the creative field, that's it's like that nobody is concerned about that. All you see now is just and honestly, I mean, even like people aren't even I haven't really noticed like anybody talking that much about the coronavirus. It's like people, they almost act like it's gone. And
what about the murder hornets?
Oh yeah.
The murder hornets. Why do you introduce them if they're not important to the story anymore?
I don't know. First of all, like those murder hornets, I'm not even sure if that's like a legit thing. Like I think there was like
robots built by the FBI.
I think it was like one hornet or something got out. I don't know. Like
one.
That's it by himself. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. The murder hornets were like here and gone like in about 2 days.
I know. It's so insane.
And,
insane.
Yeah. So anyways, about the coronavirus thing, like we were talking about it, and my mom works in the medical field, and so does my wife, and they were like doing some readings and stuff, and it's like it's actually spiking a lot of places. Like
because they reopened, right?
Well, everybody reopened. So and then of course, like I'm sure the gathering of mass crowds that's going on doesn't help. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, think about it. That picture in LA that I was talking about earlier. Imagine if somebody had the virus there. I mean, everybody would get it. You know, because they're so close. You know, so.
Well, actually, too, did you see the new findings that asymptomatic people aren't as likely to spread the virus as originally thought? Did you see that?
So I was talking to, I had a podcast with a girl yesterday, and she mentioned that. Now I didn't know about that, so I didn't interject because I was like, this seems dumb, but I'm like, but maybe there's something going on that I'm unaware of. So like now that you say it, I'm like, okay, so what's going on? Like, how is that real? Is that true?
The WHO and the CDC released an article saying that, or at least there's been several articles that have been circulating, and I've seen it over multiple times in the last 2 to 3 days, and everyone is not pleased about it. And they're like, what the heck? Like, we thought asymptomatic ones were the worst ones, and now we find that they're very rare carriers, and very rarely do they give it to other people. So
I mean, is that what it is? It's rare, like they rarely give it to other people.
Yeah, I know the word rare was used in there, so I'm very heavily paraphrasing right now because I'm no scientist, but I've just been seeing those articles circulate, so I'm like, very interesting.
Then why is it spiking? I don't understand. Like, then, I mean, are people just going out even though they have symptoms, or like what's going?
I wouldn't be surprised, because remember what we talked about. Like, now that the country's opening back up, people need to get back to work. Even if they are sick, they're probably gonna go back to work. You know, and like, that's not a bad thing, because I understand, because we all need a way to make our money. You know, we've been without jobs for months, and we're all probably going insane and at our significant others' necks and wanting to, like, you know, spank our dogs all the time because they're probably driving us up a wall. So I understand the need to return to some normalcy. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if some people who were sick and carrying symptoms did return to work and thought, oh, you know, for me, I know I get sick 2 times a year. I get sick once in December and I get sick once in the summer. That's like my yearly.
That's your cycle?
Yeah, that's my yearly cycle of getting sick. So some people might have the same thing and they're like, oh, I'm just getting sick during the summer. This is normal. I'm used to this. But they may not realize that it may be different this year. So
yeah,
you never know.
So that's interesting, because so they're saying asymptomatic people are not as likely to spread the virus, but that does not account for someone who got coronavirus and is just not showing symptoms during that incubating period, right? So it's like,
let's see,
because asymptomatic would mean that, like, you have it and you never show signs, but you could get it and you're still got that 4 or 5 days before you show signs that you could spread it.
Yeah.
So that's probably what's happening there too.
So I'm pulling it up. WHO clarifies on asymptomatic spread of coronavirus. There's much unknown. So,
well, as always.
Yeah. How often people can spread the coronavirus when they do not have symptoms? So let's see. They've said a third of the coronavirus infections may be asymptomatic. They also state that 40% of coronavirus transmission is occurring before people feel sick, meaning they are pre-symptomatic. So I guess
how much before they know they're sick?
40%.
That's
before they feel sick. So technically, being pre-symptomatic, as asymptomatic is just that you don't show.
You don't show any signs.
But pre-symptomatic is just that I'm assuming that you're going to start feeling symptoms.
Right.
You're already sick. So
I mean, it's just like
I'm a scientist.
Yeah, no, you basically are. You've got glasses. I mean, you're pretty much a scientist.
I have Google and glasses. We're good to go.
That's all you need. I mean, apparently, because they've been changing their thoughts on the coronavirus every couple of weeks. So you might want to go ahead and get your application in the CDC.
I know. No, to be fair, I don't think that's an easy job to try to figure out new viruses and try to calm down mass hysteria. I'm just, you know what, let's take a moment and be grateful that we can buy toilet paper in peace again.
Oh.
Like, I don't know if you get, but
That seems like so long ago. Yeah. That seems like so long ago that was like, but it wasn't. It was just like in March, right? Like it kind of started hitting the fan. So yeah, crazy.
So let's be grateful that we can now buy toilet paper. And I don't know about you, but I've been able to purchase more steaks and beef lately. So
yeah, there's that, which I'm pretty excited about. My wife doesn't eat a lot of beef, but like I love steaks, so that's my thing to cook. So
don't get me wrong, I love chicken, but it was like chicken every single day, and I was like, we need to mix this up. I'm dying.
That's funny. What was I going to say about the coronavirus thing? Yeah, so everybody, so it's spiking. It looks like it is spiking in certain areas, not everywhere, but certain areas it is spiking. So, but I think at this point, people are just so preoccupied with what's going on, like on the social scene, with the protests and all that, that like everybody's just kind of forgotten like about the virus. So, you know.
We're always moving on to the next thing, you know what I mean? Like we can't stay preoccupied with one thing for too long. So I always think that's really interesting to watch how the perspective shifts from like, holy crap, Corona, and now it's like, you know, Corona, now we have this stuff going on, we're all gonna go out, and that's totally fine. I totally understand. Like I said, I support the cause. It's just like interesting to see it kind of shift in real time of importance, because for, you know, a while ago we were like, holy cow, like I wish something else would happen, and unfortunately something worse happened, and now we're like, man, sometimes you look back and you're like, just a few weeks ago I was just concerned about like toilet paper and my groceries, and now we have these bigger issues at hand, and it's like, holy cow, like I just really hope that we can start making some headway and some change soon, so that way we don't have to keep having these big catalysts that keep changing our minds. Does that make sense? Like, no, I do. I don't want to have it keep getting worse. You know, I hope we go on the up and up for the latter half of the year. Can you believe it's June?
No, I can't. Actually, it's moving so fast, and it's like, it's, you know, here's the thing. It's like, at some point, like I'm hoping, like you, things are gonna start getting better, but you know, I don't know. Like I was just reading this thing. So do you know where Chernobyl is? Like the whole deal?
Yeah.
So you know, I was there, not in Chernobyl, but close, when the nuclear power plant melted down, and so now they have forest fires there. I don't know if you heard, but so there's raging forest fires in the area where it's quarantined because of nuclear like sediment that's in the ground. So the fire is burning it up and then putting it back in the air. So, you know, so all that nuclear waste and all that nuclear radiation that's like in the forest that's just sitting there for, you know, years and years, you know, now it's like getting put back in the air. So now radiation is kind of spreading everywhere again, you know, so it's the winds take it. Crazy stuff, right?
Mother Nature is mad at us, you guys. We got to do some serious rethinking on the way we handle.
Well, definitely it has a right to be. We've done a lot to the earth, you know, so.
Yeah, we got to reduce. I know it sounds super cheesy and everyone's like, oh, reduce your carbon footprint. And I used to think it was a super lame concept, but honestly, the thing that drew my attention to that, and I know we were just talking about beef a few minutes ago, so I'm, you know, guilty of not really helping, but, you know, just looking into different ways that you can try to reduce, like literally, like recycling is so important. Like I didn't even realize, you know, my significant other and I, we always used to buy like packs of water bottles. And then when I started paying attention to the forest fires or like the wildfires in Australia, I was like, holy crap, we have to at least do some little thing to where we're not doing this. So, you know, as you've seen throughout the show, I've been drinking from like a metal straw. Right. You know, I bring my metal straws with me. You know, we're trying to use more filtered water devices versus buying like packaged water bottles and things like that. So we're trying to little by little to get better, but Mother Nature is not pleased with the way we've been treating this earth for sure.
There's Yeah, the whole thing about the carbon footprint, like I think the idea and the theory is good, and I think as an individual, if you can do that, that's beneficial. I think the question comes down to like how much of an impact like do you have? That's I think that's kind of like it's one of those things where it's like is it going to have a major impact? But I definitely think has a major impact for you as an individual mentally when you know that
You're trying your best.
yeah, you're doing the right thing. So
Yeah, I think if you get enough people and you're trying to educate them, not with like, the thing that's been really hard to see lately is the way people are treating each other. And I know people are sick of certain behaviors, and I'm not condoning that at all. But it's that old adage where it's like you get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. You know what I mean? Like you are able to reach a bigger audience when you educate them with facts, resources, and love. At least to me, that's always been my experience. And, if it has to be tough love, so be it. But trying to, name calling other people and, for me using like expletives, like it just drives the divide further.
Sure.
And so I know it's a really hard time to be patient right now, but I think that's where the rub is. You have to be more patient if you want to reach more people, whether it's with protests, whether it's with the BLM, the Black Lives Matter movement, and, just anything in general. If you want to educate people, you don't want to call them stupid and then try to force them to listen to you. Like, it's not going to work. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I mean, again, like not a political show. I personally don't get involved, but I do think like when I hear somebody, just my personal opinion, I tend to listen to someone who is calm, collected, and articulate rather than someone who just starts screaming and cursing. And when I see that you are you are being manipulated by your own emotions, it kind of turns me off like a little bit. Does that make sense? It's like when you start screaming and name calling and then like putting people down and like I already shut off. Like my mind already shuts off at that point. Like I have no interest in knowing what you're screaming about. You know what I'm saying? And I think there's people like me out there, maybe they would listen to you, but now they're not,
Yeah, sometimes it's like you don't always want to be the loudest voice in the room,
right?
And obviously there's a time and place for that. You can be passionate and still have these discussions and still be very loud vocally, but without you don't have to put people down to get your point across. It's really hard, and we as people always judge. It's not easy on either end. We're always going to judge the way other people do things, but that's just from my general perspective. But
absolutely. So it seems like every show we talk about everything but the actual topics at hand.
I know.
Which now, like the topic that we're going to discuss seems so superficial, but like so I went back, to the gym, like training and everything, and they require masks, and we talked about that. It's I tell you, it's interesting. Like some gyms have precautions and other gyms don't. So like yesterday when I went to the gym, this guy didn't have a mask on, and they like ran up to him and were like, look, you need a mask or you can't train here. And my gym is very serious about that. And like some gyms I know, they're like, I don't care. Like, it's just like, whatever, just come train.
I think we're experiencing that right now. Your gym is like that. The gym I attend is a local gym, and they're like, here's gloves if you want to, wear a mask if you want to. Here's some hand sanitizer, and wipe down all the machines. But no one, I've been going, and it's been so nice. And I've been going, and like, I don't have to wear a mask there, and I just feel like human again. The only thing that stings that is that this gym doesn't have central cooling, AC, so it's been hot there.
You don't like working out in the heat?
Not when it's like 92 degrees and humid. Definitely not. But no, it's been really fun to get back into normal society again. But I can't imagine having to do, like, if I had to do a workout in a mask in that facility, forget it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to breathe at all.
I made a goal in mind. Like I was like, well, the first time I did some cardio in the mask, I did it for like 5 minutes and I was about to pass out. Then I started like, well, I need to I'll take this as an opportunity to learn how to control my breathing. So now I'm moved to the point where now I can just be in the mask and train and do cardio for 30-40 minutes and not have a problem. Occasionally I'll have moments where I start hyperventilating, but then I try to calm myself down and control my breathing. There is that where they do it like altitude training with those masks. So I mean, there is some, some science or whatnot behind doing that, but yeah, it's definitely not easy for sure.
No, definitely not. And for me, I've been really grateful to go to a place where, I showed up the first day out of respect, like in a mask, because I'd never been to this gym before. It's a locally owned gym. And they opened up against the orders of our governor. So they received citations, but they're still open. They're really nice people. It's a really cool facility. So obviously it's like, okay, I don't know what their rules are here. I'm just going to show up in a mask. And then when I got there, like no one was in a mask. And I was like, okay.
There's a lot of people there.
When I went last week, I guess it just depends on the time. But yesterday, now that we're officially open in Pennsylvania, oh my gosh, that place was packed because it's still one of the only gyms that's open. Like the bigger chains won't open for another week or two. I have some friends that work there. They're like, hey, Sarah, we're going to give you some hope. Like we're opening soon. And I'm like, oh, thank goodness. Like, thank goodness I have this other gym too right now to get me through.
Yeah, that's, I went back. I just started training at the gym again because I'm like, at home was fun. But sometimes it's just easier just to go, just to get in your car and go to the gym.
Yeah, because it completely shifts your mindset. Even if you have your own little corner of working out, it's just so nice to be around other people who are just, not even that you're going to the gym to socialize, because I'm still very much new here. So I don't know anyone that goes to that gym. I know maybe one girl, but she and I don't ever go at the same time anyway. But it's just nice because you get inspired when people are so in their zone and you're just like, oh yeah, I want to get there. And so it just feels nice because your home is where you want to relax. So when you mentally start mixing those boxes, it gets really hard to start feeling comfortable in your own home.
Sure. No, I knew people like that. So I work from home, and I knew the people that at my job, they were like really against working from home because they had the same kind of idea that they didn't want their work and their personal life to mix, so it's interesting how different people view things and, how they function. So what about like precautions? Like what kind of precautions does your gym take? I mean, I know you said they don't wear masks, but they do.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, obviously with anything, with going back into training, I would even suggest that even if you feel like, oh, it's just like, oh, I'm having a summer cold, or, oh, it's just allergies, I would just take the extra precaution to just stay home that day and check yourself, because you don't know, like there are still so many things going on. Like even the WHO and the CDC say there is so much unknown. Why would you take that risk and go to a facility where you're mixing essentially with other people's sweat, which sounds disgusting, but you're using all the same weights. Sometimes people don't always wipe off machines, and sometimes you don't always sanitize the machine before you even get on it. So I would say, first of all, check yourself before you wreck yourself, before you even go to the gym. Definitely for me, like the sanitizing thing, I've taken a lot more seriously. I used to not, which sounds really bad of me, but I would do it after I used a machine, but never before. But now I even make sure to sanitize the dumbbells after I use them, and like the bars that I use, I'll always just take an extra wipe and go down for at least like 30 seconds on everything. And even the pins, when you can pull out and re-rack the weight, I'm always wiping those down, and always wiping down like the buttons that I touch on the cardio machines and the mats, like before and after.
Oh, you're doing a lot. You're basically everything you touch, you wipe down.
Yeah, because I do want to be considerate of other people. Even though I'm feeling okay, I don't know if someone's feeling slightly, 60% okay, and then what if there's something that like I don't know that I have, and like they mix my germs. Like I just want to take care of my stuff. And like you said, even though it seems like I'm doing too much, I'd rather have peace of mind knowing they did everything I could to kind of prevent, myself from making someone else sick and going back to that, even though, obviously I'm not wearing a mask either. So
Right.
it
equals out.
Yeah, it equals out. But I am at least trying to sanitize because I don't know, like I don't trust people. Like people were not washing their hands properly. This is
I'm sure there
So-
still aren't. Like, I'm sure people still aren't doing that. So here's the thing. It's like you're doing way better than me because most of the time I wipe down the machines. 100% I wipe it down after I use it. Sometimes I forget about before. And it's like, and I'll be in the middle of my set and I'm like, oh, I didn't wipe this machine down. Ah. And then I'm like, well, do I wipe it down?
And you're like, I'm directly in the sweat.
And I'm like, do I wipe it down now? Is it even worth it? I'm already sitting on it. So I'm like, but I don't think about wiping down the dumbbells themselves. Like, and definitely not pins in the machines. I never thought about that. That's actually like, I might start doing that, especially for the dumbbells. Because what's the point of wiping down machines if you're still touching the dumbbells that other people are touching too? So.
Exactly. So I'm like, and like I said, I was just trying to err on the side of caution. Like, okay, we're not wearing masks, but at the same time, I still want to try. If I'm touching something that someone else has touched, I like to wash my hands, before I do anything like in my own home. Mm-hmm. So I just want to have that respect for other people using the things that I've used. It's like I want them, even if they don't see me doing it, they're like, okay, at least these are clean and they're not all grimy. And the reason why I'm so serious about like wiping it down before I go on is because, like I said, we don't have air conditioning. So I am not about to feel someone else's sweat when I lay down to do leg curls on that machine. That is so gnarly.
Face first into like.
Yeah, well, like it was literally yesterday that I did leg curls. Like I said, the gym was packed. So I was standing by one of the machines because there's these two guys alternating between calf raises and leg curls. And I was doing single leg deadlifts. I was like waiting for them to, finish their set so I could get on. So they wiped it down afterwards, but they did like a haphazard like sweep. I was like, So I took the rag and I just like wiped it down. I was like, I see how sweaty we are in here. No way. That's gross.
That would be gross before Corona. It's super gross now. Like
yeah.
Crazy. Well, I hope you stay healthy. Keep wiping stuff down.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, everyone has different opinions, but a lot of people are like, oh, Corona can't survive in the heat. So I'm like, I'm hoping that's true because we're all sweaty over here at this gym. So I hope you don't live here, Corona.
It's crazy. I think part of the issue with Corona is that there is so much like misinformation. And it's like, and you can literally find anything about it. Like, it doesn't live in the cold. It doesn't live in the heat. And like everything in between. I don't know.
It's like, does it really exist? Is it a figment of our imagination? This is actually just like a fever nightmare for all of us. That's what I'm hoping this is. I feel like, have you ever seen the show Black Mirror?
I've heard about it. I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's a really intense show that's made in the UK, and it mirrors like what our lives could be in the next like 3 to 5 years. It's very, very close to our society, but it's called Black Mirror because obviously it's a lot darker. So it's like, okay, here's what could happen to us as a society if we don't get our crap together.
Yeah.
So I just feels like we're living in a Black Mirror episode right now. It's just been so insane.
But you seem to be, working through it.
Staying busy, always staying super busy.
Doing your classes.
Yeah, so I teach my yoga classes 3 times a week, and then I have, like I said, my personal transformation group, my 6-week group that's coming up to an end next week. I do that 5 times a week in the evening. I have my 200-hour teacher training every weekend, so that's 12 hours a day.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going amazing. This last weekend, we got so much information, and the instructor was absolutely incredible. Like, I was a little resistant because I just personally didn't know him, and usually I know a lot of the people that are doing the trainings, and not that I didn't respect or anything, I just didn't know him.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit shy, but then as the weekend went on, it was just like he was like this fountain of knowledge. So it was a really, really incredible weekend, and so I should be done with this program. We have a unit coming up this weekend, and then not next weekend, but the following, and I'll be done with it after that.
Awesome.
So
That's fast.
playing cello. My guy and I were gearing up to move into a new apartment, so we've been apartment hunting, taking care of the dogs, trying to get back to my own fitness routine. So it's been crazy busy. So, but I mean, I think if I couldn't be busy, I would probably be in a lot worse of a mindset at this point with everything going on. I mean, even when Blackout Tuesday happened and all of the protests happened, like I took a day off from teaching everything, and I was like, okay, I want to respect, because we use a lot of music that people profit off of. So I was like, no, I want to participate in this. I uploaded what the workout was going to be, but I physically did not go online. I didn't stream anything, and it was a really heavy time too. So it was just wanted to give people a little bit of peace of mind too, and take time for themselves to kind of really think. So it was really tough.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it was that was a thing until I posted something about like one of the podcasts I did, and my guest was like, I'm gonna wait till tomorrow to upload it, and then and she didn't tell me why, but then I figured out once I started seeing like some of the stuff on Instagram. I was like, oh, okay, like that's what's going on. Yeah. Okay, well, we're here, we did it, we're back.
I know.
So till next time.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we solve all the world's problems.
Just trying to 3 problems at a time.
Yeah, there you go. All right, thanks. See ya. See ya.